You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Come on, Sean.
Break for 30 seconds.
Come on, Sean.
End of transmission.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to noon every Sunday, and I am your host, Angela Smarito. Before we jump into the show, I want to give a big shout out to some of our show sponsors because without their support, we would not be here now. Thank you to Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. ForgeITConsulting.com. Get Me Automated. Ashley and her team educate business owners to grow their business through custom automation. GetMeAutomated.com. And Osteopathic Health of Orlando. They offer integrative medicine, osteopathic healing, regenerative medicine, and so much more. Visit osteopathic.healthcare. And so today we have a new guest at BaaD Radio, but he is not new to business networking or being a small business owner. Please welcome Coach Dominic Lucibello.
Hey, how are you?
Is it Lucibello? Lucibello with Breakthrough Fitness. I always mess up the name, so
fine.
Like I said, I'm just going to call you Coach Dom.
That works.
Moving forward. So Coach Dom is in my BNI chapter, and we talk about BNI a lot on the show just because it's like a cornerstone of networking across, all over the world. So you were in our chapter when I joined. So how long had you been in business launchers?
I believe we must have started right about the same time then, because.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just had renewal. April. So.
I just had mine.
Yeah, so it was exactly.
Oh wow!
I just assumed you were there longer than me.
I might have been though, because my renewal was February. So,
yeah, so like 2 months.
You can pull that up higher, so you don't have to lean forward. There you go.
Got it.
All right. So how did you even hear about BNI?
Opened business about 15 years ago and was networking, and then someone turned me onto it and was in BNI way back then and got consumed in the business. I couldn't, break away and get out there and do that, and then wanted to get back into it. So I knew about it for quite a while.
Okay, that's cool. See, I didn't. I was in radio sales for the longest time without even knowing about networking, which is crazy because I wish I could go back and kick myself in the butt for not paying attention when people are like, hey, come to this networking event for me. I'm like, no, I'm going to go make 100 cold calls instead because that's so fun. So tell us a little bit about your background. Let's start with where you're from and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Born in Connecticut, grew up in South Florida, mom and stepfather, since I was about 7.
Mm-hmm.
Played a lot of sports, got into weightlifting, strength training to,
what sports did you play?
Played football, baseball were the
Really?
main 2 sports. A lot of basketball just with friends and stuff, but those 2 sports were my.
What position were you?
Baseball was center field, leadoff batter.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got speed and you can track the ball.
That was about it. I was a punch and Judy. A lot of singles, doubles, a lot of speed, not much power.
I have a lot of respect for the first hitter because it's especially the first second, you got to get on base, man.
Yeah, I was good at that. Yeah, we were a game away from states back in my junior year high school.
Oh, well, I've talked about it. Kevin Davis and I both have kids that are in baseball, and our son is in his senior year now, and his sophomore years they made it to state.
Nice.
And it was really cool. It was it was a lot travel wise because they had to go way up to the Panhandle and back again. So hopefully they'll do it again this year. We're on a good track to do so. But he's a pitcher, so
yeah.
After a certain level, they become POs, pitcher only. So he doesn't get to hit anymore, unfortunately. But that's when he's on the mound. I'm a nervous wreck, so I'm kind of. I think just him pitching a game a week is enough for my nerves. I wouldn't be able to handle him hitting. So, all right. So, Florida is a big baseball state too. So, So when did you decide to open up your own gym?
Well, late in life actually. So, I bartended through college.
Mm-hmm.
Did that for about 10 years after college, and then got into real estate for a year. And was didn't like that. Didn't enjoy it at all. It was in the boom.
Mm-hmm.
Said, what am I doing myself? So I kind of fell back on what I went to college for, and started training people in parks and in homes.
So you went to college for physical therapy or
exercise physiology, exercise science,
I didn't know you could get
wellness.
a degree in that.
Oh yeah, like a glorified PE teacher is what I say to people. But
I heard the
yeah.
other day that it's hard to become a PE teacher because everybody wants that position. Is that true?
I don't know. I never tried to be a PE teacher. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people, like a lot of my team is from UCF graduates or working on that degree. So a lot of people go into the same degree and might go like physician's
therapy,
assistant, physical therapy.
Right.
They could either go strength and conditioning or, the private sector, kind of what I'm doing. Yeah.
So did you say your business has been there for 15 years?
Yeah, 2010.
Okay.
We
First and
opened.
foremost, congratulations.
Thanks.
Because that's pretty phenomenal, especially with like the economy, the ups, the downs. A lot of has happened in the last 15 years.
For real. Yeah, it's been a interesting ride. Yeah, it's been fun.
Has it been in the same location the whole time?
Yeah.
Where is that?
All on Avenue, right by Oviedo High School.
Okay.
269 All on Avenue, Oviedo. Been there. I remember looking in the window, getting butterflies because I was looking for a place and saw it, and I was like, "This is it." I've been telling everybody, and now we have to do it. And it was just me and one unit, and we expanded and into the next bay, and been there ever since the whole time.
I want to hear that whole story.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, can you start like I said? So you had the idea, like you're like, I want to own a gym.
Yes, I mean, I was moved up here from South Florida with my then girlfriend, now wife. She wanted to go to UCF, finish her master's. Started networking. Didn't know anybody up here. Went to a lot of East Orlando chamber networks. Started getting some clients, training people all over.
And you said like at parks and whatnot.
Yeah, parks
right.
in their homes and a couple gyms. I would like have to pay rent like to
Sure.
train people. And just I realized that was not what I wanted to do. So I was like, I wanted to open up a place. And I went to a Perform Better as a company that sells like fitness equipment, but they put on these amazing seminars, and all the presenters are top-notch strength coaches, like Mike Boyle, strength coach from Boston Red Sox.
Wow.
People that in the industry people know, and I knew all of them except this one guy. His name was Alan Cosgrove. It was spelled W-Y-N, Alwyn. I thought it was Alwyn. I never saw the spelling of Alan that way, and he's Scottish. Anyway, his presentation was called Transitioning from a Personal Trainer to a Business Owner. And I didn't go to even hear him speak, and when he spoke, I was like, man, this guy's talking to me. And I ended up joining him, and his wife had a mentorship out in Santa Clarita, California. Went out there, decided to join it, was a part of their business coaching group for like a year, 2 years, and that's when I I'm like, all right, I'm ready to take this leap and open up a business and do it. And
okay,
I did
again, congratulations, because that's a lot. Because now, like, I get like becoming a business owner because that's what I did with BaaD Marketing, but I don't have a brick and mortar. I can only imagine the nerves of what you have to do because you're taking on rent and you're taking on the insurance, especially in your field.
Yeah. I mean, it was, you're nervous and you're stressed out, and, you had debt from going into business
right?
and not paying the bills, just paying the basics and covering those expenses. It was a lot of doubt creeps in, and you just keep going, and it eventually just kept growing, and here we are.
I know. That's amazing. Like, you're going to give me butterflies, and just because I love hearing stories like that. I love hearing success stories, especially like because you've got like all these big chains, like LA Fitness and Crunch, and what was the one, Golds, that used to be a big one and stuff like that. And it's like I don't know. First and foremost, I don't know what the problem is with the models of those, because they never work. They always end up closing. Have you ever figured out why?
I mean, there's always a model. That model's never going to go anywhere. But like, you have Planet Fitness. It's kind of a price-driven model. So like, if they're going to charge $10.99, we'll charge $9.99.
Yeah.
And then Planet Fitness did a great job of like who they market to, so they know their ideal client. Their marketing,
they're the like no shame zone or
like
something like
no
that.
No judgment zone, no lunk alert, and no meatheads kind of thing.
So you can't drop your weights on accident.
Yeah, exactly. So
there was a guy that used to work here. His DJ name was Buckethead, and he dropped a weight on accident once, and he got kicked out. He was so mad.
Yeah, I got kicked out of the UCF gym when my wife was going to school there for doing overhead pressing with a barbell. They're like, you can't do that, sir.
Oh.
They called me sir. I was already
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to run to break. When we get back, I want to pick up that story. So everybody stay tuned. We have more BaaD Radio coming up. Welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Premier Couples Superstore. There is no better time than now to visit Premier Couples Superstore because they have got a huge selection of lingerie, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. 5009 South OPT or shop online at premiercouples.net because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
Right, baby. So we are here with Coach Dom, owner of Breakthrough Fitness. Before we jump into on the next one, how did you come up with the name of Breakthrough Fitness?
You know what? In my coaching group I was in, and we just kind of broke down ideas of just searching for names,
right.
and that kind of word stuck. People having a breakthrough moment coming through. Who I was looking to train is they weren't really dedicated to fitness or into it at all. So we wanted something that kind of had a powerful meaning behind it, and that's kind of how we came up with it.
All right, I'm going to call you a boutique gym, but don't take that the wrong way. When I say that, I just say it's more customized for individuals as opposed to like turn and burn. I meant the bigger gyms have models, and those models are like, okay, we're out of 100% of the people that sign up, we're only predicting that 75% or only 25% show up.
Yeah.
So like if everybody went to the gym that had a gym membership, they wouldn't be overloaded, right?
Correct.
So I'm assuming you do not work on that model.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah. We're very intimate. We 180 members. We know everyone by name. If we don't see them that week, we're reaching out to them, making sure.
Really?
Yeah, we want to make sure they're into the facility, and it's they're not paying $10 a month. We want to make sure they're there, getting their investment and utilizing it so they live a healthier lifestyle.
Right. Well, I want to talk about that. So let's just walk me through the program. So I'm going to say, Coach Dom, I've been thinking about, getting my fitness back on. I'm 52 now, I'm not overweight, but I just don't have muscle mass or whatever, you know what I mean? So we can use me as a model. And so how would that process work? I'd show up, you do me like a walkthrough?
Yeah, would have you come to the facility, talk more about your goals in person, explain any questions you may have about our programs, about the facility, and then we go through an initial assessment. So we want to make sure, we want to see how you move, talk about any injuries, limitations, really just build confidence in you to see that, to show you how much you can do. And a lot of people come in and they're very anxious and nervous, and they might have
they think that they're going to be judged?
Maybe not just judged, but everyone still feel a gym is what you see, just people that are very fit and all into it. Where we're like the alternative to that. We cater to people that are new to fitness, new to strength training. They may have been doing things their whole life and jazzercise, have a home gym, but they never really found their footing in the environment that makes them stay consistent. And that's where we kind of focus. Our environment is so important, and people don't realize the training environment is probably one of the most crucial components.
Talk to me about that, the training environment. So how is that different than just a regular gym?
Yeah, I mean, we're a smaller facility, so 3,500 square feet. So when you walk in, you're getting a welcome, smiley face greeting. It's appointment based, so we know you're coming in.
Okay.
We're ready for you. There's no thinking. You just show up, which is the hardest part.
Right?
But if you get there, we take
true.
care of the rest. Yeah. So once they're there, we get them into their warm up, which is over time. They learn those movements. We keep that pretty
20
standard.
minutes of warm up?
No, not even. Maybe 7 minutes.
Okay.
Get the body, from a sedentary state to being active. So we want to have that bridge.
Is a coach working with somebody for every step of the way?
Yeah, every step of the way. We do our training, and we call it semi-private training. Some people might refer to that as small group training, where it's a 5-to-1 ratio of client to coach. So one coach working with 5 people, doing their tailored, customized program for that session.
That's really cool.
Weeks.
How did you come up with that? Is that something that was learned, or did you come up with that and you're like, hey, this makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, I've learned it from mentors in the past, but if you look at like collegiate strength training rooms, there's no individual. It's not one-on-one. Like personal training became this one-on-one service, and to me, it's that community is so important. You're training with others that are like-minded. You look across the way and see somebody that's, wow, I'd like to be like her someday, be that strong.
Aspire.
And she's the same age and may have went through the same things in life. So we just felt like that was a better atmosphere to train people in. It brings rates down a little bit. Personal training can get expensive.
Sure.
So by sharing a coach, essentially, we bring the rates down a bit.
Okay,
for our clients
so that
as well.
actually makes a lot of sense because I see people at the gym. So we were members of the zoo that turned to Lift 365 or something like that, and there's a lot of meatheads in there. We'll do morning workouts, but I do see like people like trainers working with individual. And most of the time, it's an elderly person or a female.
Yeah,
that's what I noticed. And so what you're saying is like with a group, so you still have that personalization of having a trainer. And you share it with 5 other people that are kind of in that same phase, like as far as like their agility and workout and stuff like that.
They can be. We could have, for instance, I might have Bud, who's a 40-year-old, 6'3", 240-pound guy, muscular, strong, and he might be working right next to Sally, who's 66 and thin. She's in there for osteoporosis, getting stronger, bone density, and they're both being challenged appropriately for their fitness levels, and the atmosphere that we've created is, it's
but
not, he's not a meathead. It's you know what
I mean, what I'm talking about,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
It's the guy that goes in there that like wants to make sure that everybody's looking at him. He's about to do his set. He's got his bag next to him that's like super big. I'm like, what is in that? And don't even get me started on the girl meatheads.
Yeah.
Because I laugh. I mean, I'm just like, why? You are making such a spectacle of yourself right now that it's impossible for us not to look at you.
For sure.
But it's not because anybody here is like really envious. It's because you're forcing us by making so much noise or like I said, stripping off your clothes or whatever it is that you're doing. So like you said, lots of times I get a kick out of it.
Yeah, it's that environment's a bit different for sure with, everyone doing selfies and videos. And,
but I mean, that's why, like, that's why I can see why a lot of people are intimidated by it. Like, my husband goes to the gym 5 days a week, so I'm used to going to, I'm used to seeing that.
Right.
But I'd be scared to death if I had never experienced that, and it would stop me from going to the gym. If I walked in there by myself and I saw all that stuff, I'd turn around and walk right out. But I'm used to it now, so I like the idea of what you have.
Yeah. I mean, I've had people that even though they read about us and know what we do, and I think they know we're different at first, that have told me they've driven into the parking lot and drove out, and it took them like 3 different times to get the courage to come into
they were scared?
into the gym. They're just that nervous about going into a fitness facility, asking for help, doing something. I mean, it's scary and new to them. Getting hurt is always people are really nervous about lifting weights. I think maybe it's from seeing CrossFit games and things like that, where they think that's strength training, just that. Like, you can't do it in a safe, controlled environment and still be challenged. We had a joke with clients the other day. They're pushing, I had a group of ladies, and one's pushing the sled, and I know she's 65. This other one's doing stuff, and we were making jokes about like a chair workout for like people their age. And it's, in my world, no, they're lifting weights, and they're strong, and they get after it pretty hard.
I can imagine how satisfying it must be to watch. Some people be so nervous when they start, and then a couple months into it, they come in and there's got a smile on their face, and they're ready to work out, and they're just different people.
Yeah, for sure. That confidence. From my point of view, of always being an athlete, watching them move better, the coordination when I see that, and you can just tell there's that level of confidence and the consistency and the friendships they build. I've had friendships that have lasted longer. That they've left the gym and did their own thing, and they're still friends with people that they've met at Breakthrough Fitness. So,
right.
Yeah.
I find your place very unique and very genuine. So I think that's awesome. I see that we're getting close to the next break, but when we get back, I want to talk about some of the programs that you had, because in BNI you mentioned you have some summer programs coming up, and so I want to talk about those. And I think that, like I said, so we're going to go ahead and go to break, and when we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio, so stay tuned. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Do you know what your sprinkler did last night? Probably not. So now's a good time to get your irrigation system serviced by Ground Up Property Services today. And be sure to ask Rick Hall with Ground Up about our water sensor too, so your lawn doesn't get too much water. Call 407-468-4295 or visit groundupinc.net. So, Coach Dom, you looked at me like, am I supposed to answer that question?
Yeah, I was. It's funny. I've having some sprinkler issues and sprinkler work done too. So,
dang it, we should have got you to call
yeah, just
Ground Up.
a minute late.
So we're here with Coach Dom with Breakthrough Fitness in Oviedo. So I've been trying to get Rick Hall to join BNI for like the last 5 years, and it's just for him, everything is in the morning because he has to get his job done before it gets too hot. So it's been hard to find a chapter that's conducive with, and he hasn't. He has a certain size that he likes. So because I'm like, well, do this, hire more people, then you can come. But he's in his happy zone.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
You know what? If it's working for him, then who am I to say change it? So before we went to break, we started to talk about some of the fitness programs that you have coming up because you piqued my interest when you mentioned them at BNI. So tell us about those. Yeah,
I mean, summer is it's usually a great time for people people don't travel usually before summer. Usually summer there's a lot of travel. So we use it as a deadline. We found members get great results when there's a big wedding coming up or some kind of big event where they have something that they know they need to get into this dress or want to look a certain way or just feel a certain way before that event. But we don't always have those events, so we kind of use the seasons of life to create that event. And summer is one of those perfect times. So we use Memorial Day, the unofficial start of summer, as our deadline. So the program starts April 14th, which is a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Well, it's a 6-week program. It's basically a 6-week version of what we do in our facility with a 6-week nutrition program that we map everything out. It's individualized in the sense that we're gonna meet that person where they're at with their nutrition and find the low-hanging fruit. What's the biggest? What do they know is the most glaring thing that they can look at that's probably going to get them the fastest results? When we were on break, we mentioned lifestyle, alcohol, things like that.
Yeah.
People don't realize that it's not the calories. It's the triple threat in the fact that it messes with hormones. It affects sleep.
Oh yeah.
And then you make poor choices when you eat. And if you drink, I drink. We all have done that or do that. So it's always usually a low hanging fruit, but maybe they aren't ready to give that up or
That's
or
the problem,
back it up.
Is that they're
So,
like
yeah.
I'm not going to put that like vitamin in my body because I'm not quite sure what it is.
Right.
But I'm going to go over here and drink a bottle of wine,
Yeah.
which is just poison. So, but that's okay.
Yeah, and if they have a non-negotiable, we don't worry about that. All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna find something else to make changes with that program, and then it's just weekly accountability. We create accountability teams. So if we get 30 people to sign up, we'll break them into like 3 teams of 10, and then it's a pleasantly competitive. It's more accountability from them and not just the coaches. So the program we've been doing it. It's our 12th year doing this program. It's always a fun time, and it helps our members who are currently members get extra motivation, and then it's a good way for new clients to try the facility.
So, how does the membership thing work? So, like, if I wanted to do that 6-week program, would I have to be a member or
no?
Okay.
So our members can participate in it, but new clients. They
would just pay for the 6 weeks.
It'd be the 6-week program. So it's a short term, like I said, deadline driven. So they get to experience everything we offer. We've had a lot of members that's how they come on board. They start with a program like that, and then they roll into a membership.
That's what I was going to say.
That.
That's a really good way to get people to come in. Do you see that? So it's always weight loss. What about building muscle? I mean, do you have people that come in? They're like, listen, I'm just too skinny. I can't put on any muscle. Do you have people like that?
Yeah, I mean, we do have. Yeah, we have some thinner women clients that it may have been a osteopenia diagnosis. They want to start strength training, and strength training has finally come to the forefront a little bit. Cardiovascular exercise still dominates the industry, but a lot of people.
What is your thought on cardio versus strength training?
They both have their place for sure. I think if you're running 7 days a week, it would be advantageous to start some strength training. It's going to benefit your running. It's going to help you reduce injury, and you're gonna keep that muscle mass. Where running, if it becomes long distance and that's all you do, you're putting all your stuff in one bucket. And I like to say there's different buckets: strength, mobility, flexibility, stamina, whatever it may be. We need to spread that out a little bit. I'm glad if there's everyone should have that one thing they really enjoy doing. Yoga girls or people that like yoga tend to be very good at yoga. It wasn't yoga that made them that flexible. They were already that flexible, so they gravitate to that.
Right. Man, there's this place in Winter Park. Well, I guess it might be Maitland, that every time I go by there, every woman that's going in this place has got a great butt. And I'm like, what is going on is Pilates.
Yeah.
I was just
Pilates
like,
is popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like it. We complement Pilates well. We have people that
I don't even
do
know what
both.
Pilates is. I know what yoga is, but I'm guessing Pilates is something
a lot of core, a lot of
it's hard.
things like that. It can be. Yeah.
So, so your programs, are they a combination of cardio and strength training, or is it different for every single person?
Yeah, I mean, I like to say we're a total fitness solution in the sense when people think strength training, they think just lifting heavy weights, but that's not the case. I mean, people are going to come in, they go through a dynamic warm-up, which is kind of just preparing the body for what we're going to do. And then,
is that like jumping jacks? And
yeah,
things like
a little
that?
bit of the calisthenics, mobility stretches, that gets the body ready for that, like I said, the more the meat and potatoes of the workout. We always are going to begin with some kind of midsection, core, whatever you want to call it, ab exercise because if we put it off to the end, it tends to it doesn't get.
But
it's not as
I know
it's so
I do
important,
that. I
and it
will
gets put
I
to
will
the
put
end.
abs at the back
Yeah.
because it's like I'm like, oh
Yeah, exactly. And we want to train that first because it's usually the weakest link. That's where energy's leaking out. So we want a strong midsection. Everything else is going to be
what
strong.
do you mean energy's leaking out? That's interesting.
Meaning, like, from an athletic point of view, if let's say someone's into golf or pickleball is real popular now for 50 and up. If your midsection's weak, your lower back's taking a beating. You're not going to have as much power on that backswing or that hit if it's golf. So that is usually the limiting factor, the limiting part of the body that is keeping someone from their true potential.
So having the stronger stomach helps your back?
Stronger, stomach. I don't really consider the core just your stomach. Think about lower back. Chop off the arms and legs, that's your core.
Okay.
Glutes to torso, chest,
That's
all
really
that.
interesting because like I've had Hiroko on here and some chiropractors, and I mean back problems are just like the biggest reason why people like can't make it to work. It's just or whatever the issue is it's back.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Hiroko said with just the acupuncture, it's just like it's over half of the people that come in that are in pain is from their back.
Yeah, I get a lot of people come in. I have a recent client. She told me about her 2 herniated discs in her lower back, rotator cuff injury. I didn't even really, when she mentioned the rotator, I was concerned. Lower back, I wasn't even concerned with it because when we train them safely and get them stronger in that midsection, whether that's glutes, legs, all of that, they get stronger. They usually don't have any back issues. That doesn't mean it can't happen.
Yeah.
But,
if you strengthen the back, they're going to have less pain, right?
Correct. They learn how to create tension in the body from training, and it's just repetition. Look at every session as a lesson, practice, and then when you go into your regular life, you go to pick something up, you automatically tense up the body a little more than you maybe used to, and you don't even think about it, and you're just stronger. Where that back still might be in a bad situation, but because you're stronger everywhere else around that lower back, it's protected.
No, that's really cool. I was telling my husband the other day because he weighs 70 pounds more than me, but when I think about the strength, the difference between he and I, it's just there's just you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not even equate. Like he's so much stronger than me that it's so ridiculous. It's way more than 70 pounds. So anybody who says that women can be men, like and on as far as lifting weights and being strong, sorry, there's nothing you can take that's gonna make you be able to be as strong as a man. Sorry.
Yeah, if the strongest, that's accurate. Leg strength can be pretty. If they do getting into the science, they can do a cross section of the muscle, like of a quadricep on a woman that's really strong, and the strength is pretty equal.
Really?
But then you're just taking into pure muscle mass on a man opposed to
Right.
a woman, and yeah, there's a difference in strength for sure.
But that's okay. I like being a woman. So we're going to go to break. And when we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio, so stay tuned. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar, and with 4 great locations, there's bound to be one near you. You don't want to miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. And also visit Froggers.com for more info. Frogger's Grill and Bar, hopping with food and fun.
Yeah, boy.
Right. Yeah, boy. You can get healthy stuff on Frogger's menu too, just so you know.
All right.
They actually have some really, really good choices that are not like super fatty, but they also have like hamburgers that like probably have like 5 gajillion calories. But dang, are they good? You know,
I heard
everyone.
good things. Yeah.
Every once in a while, you got to give yourself some of that.
For
I'm
sure.
just saying. So
I do.
you know, it's so funny because like you remember how we were talking about like so I don't drink anymore, and so there's so many people that when they get around me and they're like, oh, you know, I drink. I'm like, I'm in no judge zone. Like you drink away. Do you feel like people get around you and they feel like you're judging them if they have like a hot dog or a hamburger? And
I mean, I do get it occasionally, but like I don't really like, I don't care. Like if you know, eat what you want to eat. Like I've done that at network events at like an Italian restaurant, and no one wanted to reach for the bread because I'm sitting at the table. And I'm like, so I'll grab the bread and be like, everyone, I'm not judging you. Eat as much bread as you want.
You're like, like when they had the donuts the other day, everybody was like, well, I'm not going to take it. I'm sitting next to Coach Dom.
And like, I don't care.
I was like, bring me the dang donut.
Yeah.
You know what? It's
exactly.
fine.
I had one too.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Broke the ice. Yeah.
But yeah, that's so funny because people will be like so scared to say that they had a glass of wine or something. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I'm like a doctor. I know if my client tells me they had 2 glasses of wine, I know it's 7.
I was going to say.
Multiply by 3.
Exactly.
My math's not good.
Well, what I was saying during the break is like what I really want to do right now, this is our last segment, and I know it goes fast, is like I really want to talk about your gym itself. Like I want to be able to visualize what it's like to walk in. So tell us what that's like. I mean, so I know it's in Oviedo, and you said it's 3,500 square feet, right? So how's it sectioned up? Do you have some free weights? Do you have Nautilus machines? Like how is all that?
Yeah, so the gym's almost all free weights. We have a couple cable machines that we use that we can do tons of different exercises on. No real fixed equipment in the form of machines. I like, my philosophy is, you know, we want to train the body how it functions in real life, and that's standing most of the time. Most people are sitting all day at work. The last thing we need to do is come in and sit on a machine. We want to be able to squat and bend and push and pull and be able to get down on the floor. We say that's an important life skill. You have to be able to get up and off the floor is important.
Yeah, especially the older you get.
Yeah, so we get down on the floor and do mobility drills, exercises. We don't treat anyone any different, whether they're, you know, if they're capable of doing it, we want them to do it. Whether they're 70 years old, if they're overweight, it doesn't really matter if they're comfortable doing it. We don't force anyone to do anything.
You don't do the military style stuff,
nothing like that. So when you come in, you're going to, like I said earlier, you're going to get that welcome greeting, that hello. We're going to get you started on your warm-up. You're going to, over time, they learn that warm-up, so they know what they're doing on that. We'll have them set up, ready to go for their first part of the workout, get them going on that. Then we're kind of getting the other clients.
What is that? Is that an hour?
Yeah, we block out an hour for the session. So they may be 10 minutes on that first session after their warm-up, that first session of the segment of the workout. And then, you know, I like to say to my coaches, sometimes it's like we're a restaurant. Like I have a restaurant background, like we're serving tables. Like I'm checking on you, coaching you, giving you a little bit of attention. Then I'm making sure eyes are on all my tables, all my people, and we're making sure they're getting coaches. So we're always a step ahead of them in their workout. So we're controlling the tempo of the workout. We're making sure we're tracking what weights, if they need to go up in weights. They're doing the exercise correctly, obviously, keeping the rest periods where they should be, and they're not resting too long. They're not resting enough. Sometimes we get a lot of clients that want to move, which is great. So we try to slow them down a little bit so they can lift those heavier weights when it's appropriate.
I know I'm guilty of that, like get in, get out kind of thing, just because. But I do have a question.
Yeah.
And, you know what's so funny is I just kind of forgot it real like. Oh no, it had to do with like muscle memory.
Yeah.
So if you go to the gym and you work out and you have the same exact routine like for a year, Does it start to become less effective if you're doing the same things over and over and over again and not switch it up?
Yes and no. I mean, if you're doing the same exercises, but you're changing the intensity with heavier weights or more repetition, more sets, rest periods, the frequency, you can change a lot of things before you even need to change exercise selection. But a lot of people get bored and want different variety when it comes to exercises.
Do you encourage that? A little bit of a switch around?
Yeah, so our programs, we always write a 6-week training block or 6-week program, and then the clients go through their particular program for 6 weeks. They may come in 3 times a week. They'll have 3 different sessions they go through that 6-week period. We're tracking everything, making sure they're improving, and then we start a new program. And we like the term same but different. So I may do a squat, and then the next program might be a different variation of that squatting pattern.
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we
Is most people
program.
on a 3 day a week, 1 hour session? Is that how that works? Or
either 2 to 3 times a week. Most of our clients come in. We have a couple people that do more, but usually 2 to 3 times a week.
And is it usually like set like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or is how like I don't?
Yeah, they schedule through an app. It's super easy, flexible for them. If they're 2 times a week, we try to spread it out Monday to Thursday, something along those lines. So we have we don't have such a big gap between when we see them.
Right.
If it's 3 times a week, it's usually every other day, but sometimes life happens and they need to come in back to back and then another day later in the week, and that's totally fine too. It's really listening to your body. You're allowed to work the same body part every time. If you can work it back to back.
Well, that leads me to another question. So, if you do like an arm workout and your arms are sore, like you've done some, because it's like you're tearing the muscle, right? Now, is it really bad to do arms again when you're still sore from an arm workout? Like, you're like tearing on top of tearing. Shouldn't you wait for that to feel better, like not sore anymore before you do your arms again?
Yeah, I mean, you should give it some recovery time for sure. We take a full body approach with most of our clients because we only get them 3 times a week, and that's their form of exercise. So we'll take a full body approach. So we're able to manipulate all the variables and where they're going to feel like they really worked out, and they might have some mild soreness on a particular body part, but come 2 days later, they're recovering and ready to go again. So we're spreading out the volume, meaning like if we're doing 15 sets of arms, like if you just had an arm day, we would spread those sets out over 3 workouts. Yeah, I like
that. And that makes a lot of sense for a lot of people that's not, you know what I mean? They're not. Yeah. So we do have a little bit of time. Can you give me or just tell me like I want to hear a story. I want to hear somebody came in and she was in this shape and this happened and then she came out and.
Yeah. Let me think of a good one.
I just put you right on the spot.
Yeah,
there.
no doubt.
But like I said, it's just like somebody that came in that was like super nervous. Tell me about the person that said they came back 3 times.
Yeah. She's been a member for a long time.
How different now is she than she was when she started?
This confidence is huge. She became a raving fan. She's that person that pays it forward. I say that's the biggest responsibility when you get the fitness bug or whatever you want to call it, and you're consistent in doing it. I feel like you need to pay it forward, and you're gonna have friends that are gonna ask you what you're doing or.
You get that glow,
and you need to, you need to. That's your responsibility now to.
It's also a good referral for you.
Yeah, spread it forward.
So now is the time to give all your contact information.
Yeah, so you could reach us at 407-707-6758. That's the gym number. You can text that number, reach out, and we can get an appointment scheduled for you to come into the facility, meet the coaches, and do a couple trial sessions. And experience the whole vibe. The environment, like I said, is so important. We want you to experience that. It's just not about the workouts. It's more than that. Facebook, breakthroughfitness.fl.com.
Okay.
Same with Instagram.
I got to have sure that have that FL on
there,
the
right? FL, Breakthrough Fitness FL is Facebook and Instagram. That's really the only social media platforms we're on.
I think that's great. Yeah. And so thank you so much for being our guest today. I really enjoyed it. I could still ask you like a ton of questions. So we'll have to have you on again. And I want to give you a huge thank you to our sponsors. And thank you for tuning in. Have a great week, remember. And everyone, support local.